This next one is Demon Bitch, and you could tell like there's a meteor going to hit her. There's turds everywhere and piss, because obviously that's where she lives, like doggy turd cans. There's like just like a little bit of a grub there and everything. And Victoria Irwin, now her name is Victoria Biggs, she wrote this description of Demon Bitch. And my good friend Lawrence Hubbard actually wrote that comment there, because that's pretty much what it was when he read the book. So what this book is that it's about Demon Bitch and her origin story. And this is Hellfire and Damnation, because that's where she came from. And then Russell Nolte, he also did this book, the anthology right here, which I have a couple pages in. And that's a good anthology right there. I've worked on Cthulhu is Hard to Spell with him as well, where I have a story about a love story. And yeah, it's to all the mean bitches I hate, so fuck you. Can't stand you bitches. And then there's her retarded face and everything. I had some person get on me about like calling her retarded. And she's like, that's ableism. And I'm like, actually it's funny, because the people that are mentally handicapped I respect more than able-bodied people and mentally able people, excuse me. Because the thing is that when you're mentally handicapped, to a certain extent, you're given a bar, and it's a low bar. And I've seen people who are mentally handicapped go way above beyond that, where mentally able people don't, or won't, or can't for some reason. And yet we're supposed to feel sorry for them. And personally, I'm feeling like, hey, good on you, dude. Like, there were quite a few people that I've read about. I think it's like you pay in hugs, but they've managed to make this restaurant viable. It's like this one guy, I'm trying to remember, it was Indiana or something, but he had Down syndrome and he wanted to open a restaurant. So his family helped him, and it's a functioning restaurant. I think it's still open now, but I mean, this is what he wanted to do. With anybody else that is able-minded, a lot of times they would talk themselves out of it and they'd be miserable. So it's like, you know, for me to say somebody that's retarded, it's usually like you're able mentally, but you are like so not wanting to go above and beyond what you want to do. Like, screw you, but yet you're whining around miserable and doing stupid shit in your life. So like with her, like this is her, origin story right here. And this is the terrifying creature with the fucking mustache hairs and shit. And then she just has this like buggy-eyed fucking like look to her like, and then she's on the 13th level of hell. That's her dad, who largely ignores her. I mean, I'm working in an origin story where she pretty much was a white dog turd and he was bored, so he decided to make a demon bitch. And it turned out like, because he was bored and lonely, but then discovered how annoying she is, so he ignores her. I don't know, I'm kind of playing with that one. But yeah, so this is how she gets in, and she gets into Hollywood on the Hollywood Star of Fame. And people, you know, go and, you know, confuse her for Gwyneth Paltrow. So I don't know why, but I just did that. And then she gets a job at a shitty little strip club that's like worse than the Spearmint Rhino. And it's just like, now people like throw things at, and this reminds me of a story that one of my friends told me. And he didn't want to go, but he was telling me like, when he used to work with a bunch of guys, what they would do is that they go to the strip club. Like, he personally didn't want to, but that was the only way he could socialize with his coworkers. Well, I guess there was this one really scrawny chick that like had the skin of a lizard, and and like she started stripping, and he said she was bad. Like, it was just bad. And so one of the guys like picked up a dollar bill, crumpled it, and threw it. It's like, bitch, get off the stage. And he said, man, that was so degrading, her crawling around picking up these dollar bills. And I just like, that made me think of it. So I just thought of her as this really gross piece of shit, like trying to be all sexy and all that. And here, this is where she roofies some dude into thinking that she, basically to get herself pregnant. So she roofies him. And I mean, I know people get all really upset when I would do that, but actually most people are thinking it's funny, because it's like, it kind of turns the tide in a way, but it's also kind of showing how what goes through the mind of somebody who does that to someone. And she basically tries to get pregnant so she can move in with him. Because that was also based on what another chick that I heard did. Like, she was a real fucking awful parasite. She said, I'm pregnant. And then after a month, she loses the baby, quote unquote. I'm like, oh, okay. So you decided to do that with your poor boyfriend, huh? She was cheating on him too, so it's like, oh, great. So basically she sharts out like a bunch of horrible gas, and she just realizes, oh wait, those were the taquitos I ate last night, and gets kicked out. But she's packing up her suitcase right here where, you know, she wants to go. That's like, she says, that's how you stop being homeless. So, and this is like this whole thing. And it made me think of this Shel Silverstein poem. You know that Shel Silverstein, I forgot what it was called. But it was that poem where the kid gets a dollar bill, and somebody trades it down and he gets like 4 nickels, and he says, because that's more than what $1 is. And his dad's like just shaking his head at and stuff. I'll have to find it. But so basically she works at the strip club and she spends all this money like on the bar tab and everything. And so she's trying to reason with him how $10 is fucking her out of money, but yet 10 pennies is worth more. So he just throws her 10 pennies and she stupidly goes, I'm rich. And it's also to illustrate on how terrible people like talk themselves out of good things. And then this is another one. These are based on women that act like quote unquote models, but they're Instagram models where they take pictures of themselves and use 10 million filters so you can't recognize who they are. So I did this one where she's so stupid and she's just like, well, look, if I got to go and be on this nationwide campaign, and you find out it's like, you know, for Planned Parenthood for HIV STD testing. So yeah, it's like going, fame is not necessarily great sometimes. Depends on the level of fame you want. Although if you're such an attention whore, it doesn't matter, right? And then this is her giving the stink palm. And then some of them are just foul, like she talks about her period here. And cribs. Because I was just watching this Urbex thing of Dan Bell. And like how they would go in like these old houses or old things. Or some of them were really decrepit. There was one time, he lives in Baltimore, Dan Bell. And he was actually in a drug house. Like he was urban exploring. And he was in a drug house and he heard people outside. You could hear him kind of crying and then he just gets out. He gets the fuck out. It was crazy. Like, it's on YouTube. He's still alive, but it's just like, oh shit. He's like, he's scared as fuck. It's like, it's so tense at that moment. So like, she just wants to have sex with a guy and he runs out because he's like, fuck, I don't want bed bugs. And then let's see here. This is a story somebody made up and it was just ridiculous. And it was just like, oh man, I need money because she's like getting off meth. And then she wants to steal the little jewel off, I guess, the headdress that the elephant wears to parades. Remember how they used to? And they would have these bejeweled headdresses. So she thinks she can steal that. And then what ends up happening is that the elephant swats her off. And then he realizes who she is and he throws a rock at her. And then 2 arsonist crackheads like set fire to shit and everything. Because it was based loosely off a girl that would actually like, she would borrow somebody's stuff, you know, under the promise, oh, I can do this or I can take care of this. And then somehow it would return lost or damaged or half the stuff missing. So it was based loosely on that. And she'd make up stories like, oh my God, all these like drug addict roommates broke in and stole my things. I'm like, what, every month? And then every month this girl would be moving to a new place so we can guess what it is. And then this was based off of somebody that I knew. This person would always get down on you for being like in a relationship with somebody. Like she would say, oh, I'm buying single. You shouldn't do that. I should be buying single like me. And you're like, what? Like you say, hey, you want to go to the market or something? Oh no, you shouldn't. You should be buying single like me. Buying single, buying single. Like that was her response to everything. And now I hear she's married. And I'm not saying the real last name, but let's say the person's name is Smith. It's like Smith wife forever. And it's like, oh, weren't you telling us that we shouldn't wrap our identity in a man? But here you go. But it's like months before her wedding, she was taking pictures of herself with a groom in the wedding dress, her shitty wedding cape and everything, and flowers. And it's like months before, like, look at my flower arrangement. It's like, did you get that from the 99-cent store or Walmart? Like, was it on special? Holy shit. And so we were fucking laughing about that. So I was drawing a cartoon about that. And it was just basically, we were joking, like, she basically found him like as a homeless dude and offered him a burger. That's why he married her. I mean, I do feel kind of bad for the guy because she's a piece of shit. So, but she was always taking pictures out with him and kissing him and making out with him. And it's like, it was like to a point with such desperation that I was like going, are you sure you're not lying about this? Like, really? And then it's like, oh, look at our rings and stuff. And we're really engaged and stuff. And it's like, today's the day. And then it turned out that he left her for another woman because she gave him Popeye's fried chicken. And there's her with her shitty wedding right there. And then it's like, me and my friends were sitting there, we were making jokes. Like we found like, I think it's like ugly food on Instagram or Nailed It. You know how like people like try to do the Instagram shit and it turns out to be awful. So we looked at this one cake that looked like it just had semen all over it and like cake pearls everywhere. It looked bad, right? So we were looking at it and my friends and I was like, is that her fucking wedding cake too? So this is a continuation of that where she's like going, She also, by the way, this other person would just like look at married dudes and lust after them. I'm like, you know he's married, right? And she'd be like, he made a mistake. He shouldn't have married her. I'm like, well, I guess when he was single, you should have, weren't you like talking shit about him when he was single? Now he's like married and you want to hit it? Wow, okay, retard, right? Oh, that's me doing that again. But anyway, so like, look at me, married guys are hot. And it's like, where's your wedding pics then? Pics or didn't happen, you know, the traditional. And it's like, be right back with proof. And she like just drew these stupid fucking pictures like them to prove that they weren't married. Because I ran into many, many people that just would say, hey, I'm married, I'm this. It's like, okay, where's the proof? It's like, they just put it all together and it's like, you knew it was fake. So it's like, they're not real, and she's all crying. This is about relation. Oh yeah, this is her being blissfully stupid too. Like she's got a whole bucket of fried chicken and she's going up to a homeless person saying, hey, you gonna eat that? And then here she is berating a dude. That's what I never understood about people in relationships. They would berate the shit out of their partner, say the meanest shit to them, and tell them to leave. And then they just say, well, you know, fuck you, I'm gonna be out. And they just leave. It's like, oh, can I call you? I'm like, the hell? Like, that was terrible, right? So it's just like all these things, and somehow people find that funny. I don't know why, it was just random. Let's see here. And she's so smart, she got a 160 on IQ test, but she really got 120 if you count all the points, but that's not how IQ tests work, but whatever. She's not very smart. And like her Oscar picks, she wanted Sesame Street to win. Because we were doing an Oscar party. And then this is about besties, frenemies that always stab each other in the back. And it's like, Egg Lady, this is where I introduce Egg Lady. And it's like, yes, everything is about me. It's me time. And these are actual quotes I've taken from people that acted like Egg Ladies. And Egg Lady is that friend that you have that will just be as treacherous and as mean to you if you're not aware of it. But then you'll just realize after a period of time being friends with this person, like, you're fucking stupid. I don't want to be friends with you. But they try to be friends with you, but say the worst things about you whenever they can, which is weird. It's like that nasty nice thing. So I did this. It's like, yay, I'm the star. It's about me. I have a 3-bedroom house and a hot tub. Some woman that I used to be friends with actually said that to me. Where we were talking and catching up, I said, yeah, I have a house. I have cats, you know. I'm pretty happy. Things are good. I'm being an artist, and it seems to be going well. How about you? And she's like, well, I have a practice, not much to speak of, but I have a 3-bedroom house and a hot tub. Ha, ha, ha. And I'm like, why'd you fucking say that shit to me? Because it was like, I wasn't aware because we were just catching up. I just told her what I was doing, and I don't know, but you know, that's Demon Bitch responds in that way. It's like, you're just some old rotten bitch that settled big time when she got married, which she did. But yeah, you're just jealous, but we're besties. That's how some chicks are, you know. It's like, ugh. And then them trying to catch the limelight on some other girl's wedding day. And yes, like, I've like really made my friend really, yeah, that same blissful, I'm a vegan because I love animals, and she's eating burgers and fried chicken and stuff. And then, yeah, that's what actually upsets my friends, the boob crutches. I got that from Mr. Salvador Dali. And then it shows like how Egg Lady looks awful and everything. And I love it because people go out of their way. They go like, I can't believe that, you know, you'd be lookist and everything. I said, no, she really looks busted. You really want to see a picture of her? And then they see that and they like, oh, I agree. And then there's just some odd stuff that I do. Like, let's see here. Shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. So there you go. Egg Lady fell off. And then this is the fan art section. And these are a couple of people. It's Jules Rivera and Maris Arlita Bellamy. We can guess what this is. I'm not going to get into it, but she did put it up during Thanksgiving. And then that's Lawrence Hubbard, and that's Jim McQuarrie's. That's Lawrence Hubbard with GC from Real Deal and with a pimp cane. And he's doing an exclusive for my Kickstarter called Demon Bitch Gore Dance, which was my idea. So it's really bad. And that's Chrissy Bautista and Sergio Gonzalez. And yeah, Chrissy's going to be in another book. And I asked Chrissy, is that piss? And she's like, yes, it's Demon Bitch. Chrissy has the cutest, sweetest voice. It's like, yes, it has, yeah, it's Demon Bitch. So I thought, why not? I'm like, of course, Demon Bitch, you have to put piss, you know, and bile and vomit. And then James Kelly is a guy that I worked with on, Caligula. And what was hilarious is that I just asked him to draw it. He says, before he said, I'm a writer, I don't illustrate, I said, I do not care. please draw one. And he just scanned it in the shittiest DPI. And that was the joke. It's like, wanna mosh in bed with me? That's Lucina's work right there. And then that's Joel Rivera's and all that. So it has all their credits right here. And I'll have that same thing. And then there's shitty sketches. And by the way, I make a point of sketching these like as terribly and scanning them as awfully as possible. Because first of all, they're sketches that I work on. You know, they're just thumbnails. So it's just like, even though some of them don't have any sort of, you know, any sort of like, it might seem like it has plot holes. Sometimes I just draw a keyframe so I'll fill it in later and plot it out. So this is the first thing. And I always have no issue of showing stuff in its infancy, because I hate it when I go to sketchbooks and they show sketches and like, look at how beautiful these are. I'm like, no, they're supposed to be fucking shitty and badly scanned in, because you're just like working on this. And I used to do 9-panel ones and stuff right here. And then there's like, I have a profile like that. So it's just like bad, terrible shit. And that's her on a train. And it's just like, it didn't go anywhere. This is one of the ones I didn't do yet. And it's like, yeah, it's like, I'm on a train. No shit, Sherlock, but where's the bathroom? Next car, stupid. And she goes out, because I was traveling. I was in Eastern Europe on the time and doing the train, and I didn't know where to go. And then there was this really gross dude, like when I was traveling in Europe, and I guess he was traveling with his ex-girlfriend. It was one of those cases where like they arranged a trip together, but then they broke up, but it's like so expensive, so they had to be together. And this dude like hit on all the women. Like, they're a group of Salvadorian ladies that were from Jersey, and they called him the Vulture. They're like, El Vulturo, El Vulturo. Like, he just had to try to hit on everybody. And like us girls were like, fuck no, fuck no. And we had to do this really cool Czech gypsy dance. And I was dancing with this really sweet old Spanish guy. And I looked, and we had to switch partners, and I'm like, oh, fuck no, you know, it was him. And then, but luckily, like, he was grabbing ass, like, literally with his ex-girlfriend. So I just ran and sat down with the girls. Were like, I'm not, no. So, you know, there was a cartoon about that, but obviously, like, fucking, like, Demon Bitch has sex with him, and his girlfriend comes in. And like, I was telling one of my friends, and she said, well, at least you didn't get in that situation, you would have got stabbed. I said, I didn't want to be in that situation. I was never going to be in that situation. Because he was nasty. And it's like, yeah, and it's like, she stabs Demon Bitch. She's like, fuck you, Shank. Babe, I know my mistake. She means nothing to me. Demon Bitch has this knife in her head. I actually may draw this out, actually, in the next book, because it's funny as fuck. Now that I look at it, it was good. It wasn't in there right then. And then there was one where I went to the House of Terror for Hungary, where people got tortured in this one house that used to be an estate. So she wants to adopt racism to try to go, but she ends up saying, I know the universal thing for racism. So she makes this whole like costume, and it turns out to be a garbage can. You can't see it, but it's a great work of art on that level. Because I make fun of like ideas like racism, and so it's like the fuck you, it's done. And this is for this Kickstarter right here. Now this is the Demon Bitch necklace right here, and it's like a 1-inch silver-plated piece. And I've tested, this is Oscar Adzintli's stuff right here. He carved it, we collaborated together, and he sent me pictures as he carved it. And it's really good. Like, he's an ideal guy, so that's what the Kickstarter is for, is to have a more mass-produced necklace. And it'll be packaged like this. That's how we're packaging it. And we've got like about 20 prototypes. I have a few left, but a lot sold. They're going to retail for $25. And then the book, the second one, She Sucks. And I've already sent you a picture of that. But it's like She Sucks. It's not in physical form, but I want to mass produce She Sucks, the comic book, next. So that's what we're going with right here. So this is what we are.